Okay.
I'll just start by saying a little bit, something like that. These meetings are recorded. They're put on YouTube. They're made readily available to the public, just so you all know. Whether or not they're actually viewed, I don't know, but they are there and they are readily available for folks who are interested in the topic and want to know what it is we are discussing here. I think we can start with some introductions. My name is Mathew Pruitt. I'm the Employee and Technology Services Director here at the city. I started as the HR Director in 2017. In Bothell, we had a lot of really big departments and a lot of little bitty departments, and the new city manager decided, he's not new anymore, but when he was new, he decided that we needed to sort of right size our departments, and so we took a lot of administrative departments and made them what we're calling Employee and Technology Services. So we do HR, IT, safety and risk management. And that's it, right, Ann? This is my fourth salary commission. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you under this new format. It's a lot bigger body than it's been in the past. It's usually been 3 members. So I'm excited to have more voices at the table and more discussion.
Hi, yeah, my name is Jeremy Tadros. This is my first salary commission, I guess. Yeah, outside of here, I am a high school teacher, so kind of on summer break, which is kind of cool, but yeah, so yeah.
What do you teach?
Oh, I teach social studies. So this upcoming year, I have AP US history and world history, so like 10th and 11th grade.
Hello, I'm Jenny Craswell. I, during the day and night, I am CEO of Leadership Eastside, which is a nonprofit focusing on building leadership capacity in our community.
Great.
I'm Ann Bozegard. I'm the senior HR business partner in HR. It's my first salary commission, so I'm just going with the flow.
I'm Alexandra Sheeks. I'm with Cabot Dow Associates. We provided consultation for the salary commission last year, and I'm here as a resource for you folks as you make decisions, especially if you're looking for data related to compensation for council members.
Great.
My name is Tamara Wood, and I am between a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. Right now, I'm the director of a summer camp, a bilingual summer camp called the Raíces de la Tierra.
Cool.
And I also am a groundskeeper. I manage 4 acres of riparian restoration land on North Creek in Snohomish County. And I'm also going to be graduating with my bachelor's this next year at Cascadia College.
Great.
Yeah.
Lauren?
Yeah, hi, Lauren Bortons. Hopefully y'all can hear and see me okay. This is also my first salary commission. By day, I am a product manager, so I work in tech. I have 2 young kids who may at any moment barrel in here. I heard one of them screaming up the driveway just now, so I will attempt to make it in person some of the time, but today I'm going to be here in the midst of all the chaos.
Yeah, and that's no problem, by the way. If any of you ever have any scheduling issues and it's just easier for you to do this at home, you feel free to do that. We're pretty adept at doing hybrid. I don't know that we're 100% there. I don't know that we ever will be, but you're certainly welcome to join us in either capacity. And we love to have you in person, but we understand too. And sometimes being online is just the easiest way to do things. So before we sort of proceed into the agenda, we have new procedures that were approved by the council this year, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But we need to elect a chair that will basically be the lead of the meeting, coordinate with us on creating the agenda, and run the meeting, and then a vice chair if the chair were ever to not be able to make it. I have no suggestions for you on this. It's entirely up to the 4 of you who wants to serve. Usually it's somebody steps up and does it, but I'll let you discuss that. I will say that we're missing one member. Dennis Sills is not here. He looked like, if Ann can correct me if I'm wrong, that he had some scheduling conflicts and was thinking he might be able to join online, but wasn't sure. So we'll catch him at the next meeting.
I'm going to immediately say I'm probably a really bad choice this round because I'm about to leave for Australia and I'll be in Australia for a month. So all of my meetings will hopefully I'll be able to join without problem online, but yeah, you don't want me running anything. Normally it's something I'd be very happy to do.
I could probably vice chair. I'm gonna have my first kid in late September, but until then, but I can definitely vice chair. I think. Yeah, or settle for that. They're probably online for after that,
Okay.
but yeah.
I really don't want to do it.
Just gonna let Dennis.
Big for-
I know him well. He's awesome.
And Lauren just left the meeting, so she.
Oh.
I was like, no, I'm out.
Wow.
I will say this is not a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
You're basically gonna run us through the agenda. And at the end, you get to sign the document that says you were the chair. Hello?
Hello?
Hi,
Hi?
are you here for the salary commission?
No, I'm just here to listen. I've been trying since it started, so I keep, I don't know, getting cut off or something. I did see you live there for a minute, and then it cut off, and so,
Okay, well, welcome.
thank you.
Welcome back, Lauren.
Sorry.
While we
my
were,
line died,
while you were
so
gone, we elected you the chair.
I was hoping like that would happen.
No, I'm teasing. Does anybody want to be the chair? Please.
We can't get to step 2 on the agenda until we get this.
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Did you
I'd make
need a backup as well?
Sorry?
Did you say you need a backup chair as well?
Jeremy said he'd be willing to be the vice chair.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you want to do it instead, though, that's totally cool. Like,
Oh, I felt like it was
Either
only
way.
fair since I moved out of the whole thing. Either way.
no, yeah, or stick with it then. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So I don't see a need to hold a vote. Okay. It's your show. Lucky you.
Okay, Robert's rules, okay. All right, so I haven't looked at the agenda. So are we going through line by line?
Yeah, the next, the number 3 is just
Three, let's
talking over the
say.
logistics. Yeah.
Okay, let's scheduling and email. So we already have a schedule, right? Like that's already been every 2 weeks established.
Yeah, I
Every
think,
2 weeks, and that is like the end of the things for this period of time? Or is it the schedule that was on the sheet? Like there's 6 meetings.
Because we are meeting from August to October, so I did through October.
Right.
yeah. And I would, when we go through the staff presentation, we have a 90-day timeline. A 90-day timeline that can be extended by the city council. So if we got the 90th day and we weren't done, we just go to them and say we're not done. And I'm willing to bet that they would extend it, although we've never asked, so I guess I don't know. But basically that makes our deadline midnight on November 5th,
Okay,
which means we would have to turn something in by that time.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the only thing I wanted to do with emails, I know that you're all volunteers and sometimes getting the email. I just wanted to make sure, has that worked for everybody? Has everybody been able to get into the city email? Yeah, that's a public records thing.
Mhm.
We'd like it to be on city email because then if we get public records requests and things of that nature. Yeah.
How do we get small typos fixed? My name's spelled wrong here. I just want to make sure it's right in the system.
You tell Ann and she fixes it.
Okay. Yeah. It's AS, Craswell.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I'm still working on my issues, but it looks so far so good. I've got some AT
Yeah.
emails, so I'm getting that corrected.
Okay. You have been in contact with IT?
Yeah, it
Okay.
looks like we're good so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, and then we are unsure about the fourth member.
Mhm.
Right? Or is it, we have 4 members? Yeah.
We have 5.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think Dennis will be here. I think he just
Okay.
had trouble with this.
Planning on being here.
Yeah.
Are we all new?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Which is unique. This is the first time all the members have been brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think that's it for logistics. I mean, scheduling is fine. What about a quorum, like if people are not here?
Can I read 3?
Yes. So basically, and that's new with the rules. When we had 3 members, we had to have 100% attendance, which
That's
was not always easy. And so, yeah, the requirement is basically that 3 of you be here. And if we were to catch wind that wasn't going to happen for whatever reason, we would just notify you that the meeting was canceled or potentially rescheduled. But I suspect we'll be okay with that for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, are we all good on time on this time? Like, does that work for everybody still?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Oh, then looks like Lauren has hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I think there were 2 days that I had called out from the schedule that won't work for me. So should I note that somewhere else? I just did it over things I already have scheduled.
Yeah. And commented that she has it noted.
Perfect. Okay.
What days are those? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, that's going to require me to look at my calendar.
That's
I think
okay.
one is mid-September and the other is early October.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the October dates is on a Jewish holiday, so unfortunately that one I won't be able to make, and then the other is just a work trip. So everything else, I'll be good.
That was inadvertent. We didn't realize it was a holiday. If
I'm
that's
very used to it.
yeah. So, well, we may change that anyway because we try to respect holidays at the city.
Yeah,
the other thing we'll do is we'll monitor our progress. So if we get to a point where we know people are going to be gone for a meeting and maybe it's like a big decision meeting, we might talk about rescheduling that or doing something different. So people who want to be here can have a chance to do that. What I find is that with the 90 days, there's only been one time we've gone right up to the 90 days. And it literally was a scheduling issue. Like I couldn't get 3 people in the room. Most of the time, the commission has accomplished their work in 4 meetings or so. But this is a lot bigger issue than it has been in the past too. So we'll just have to play that by ear.
I have 2 also. One of them I might be able to be, but I'm going to be at the airport, so nobody knows. Who knows? But and that's the 21st of August, and then the other one is the 18th of September, where I'll be literally on a plane. So
Okay.
So this is where the importance of like making sure that our calendar is saying we're coming or not, so we can like not just show up and not have quorum. So
Want me to share the calendar where I marked it?
that's probably helpful, so we can
That'd be
see.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Drive.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do that, and we'll always send out an agenda. We'll try to send it out either early the week of, or even the week, like the Friday before the weekend. So if there's some weighty stuff to consider, you have the weekend to consider it. And if you're not going to be at the next meeting, just respond to that email and And if we don't have that noted, we'll make sure we note it. Okay.
That's good. I think we can move on to the next agenda item unless somebody has other concern about scheduling. The staff presence presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. We've done longer presentations at the beginning of the salary commission, but I feel like I can wrap things up pretty quickly. So I kind of wanted to give a summary of where we're at with this with the compensation for city council members and kind of why we're there. So I'm going to go over the decision that was made by the previous salary commission, which was actually a year before, and then I'll run through the procedures. Since they're new, the council changed its procedures in 2025. And then later, after Alex talks about compensation data a little bit, I'll come back and I want to talk to you about interacting with the city council, because that's been an issue that's been frustrating in the past with some of the salary commissions. But I think this current council has some different ideas about that, maybe. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But essentially, with the way that the new procedures work for the salary commission is now you are a full-time board and commission of the city. It used to be that the salary commission was sort of like an ad hoc committee. They'd appoint the salary commission, they do their work, they go away. We would appoint a new one in 6 years or 3 years or 2 years or whatever. It's been different throughout the history of the city, even in my time here at the city. The way things work now is that we do a full review 1 year, which is this year. So this is a full review year. And then the next year is an adjustment review type of year. So in a full review year like this year, you basically have 90 days, 3 months to complete your work. And you have a time frame of completing that work between July 1st to October 31st. And so actually I told you earlier that our deadline was November 5th. It's actually October 31st. We're starting a little later than we had hoped to, but I have faith that we'll get through it. And if we get to mid-October and like we're going to need more meetings, then we just go to the city council and talk to them. And like I said, they're very interested in the work that you do, and I'm pretty sure that that would not be an issue. You have to elect a chair and a vice chair. You already did that, kind of. And basically what happens at the end of this is you make a decision. We document the decision. You can review that decision that they made last year and how we documented it. It's on the website. And I simply provide that to the city clerk. She notifies the finance department, and the salaries become effective within 30 days. And that's just how it's done. Whether you increase salaries or decrease salaries. If you do make a decision to change something, if you do decide to increase or decrease, basically, before you make that decision, you have to have a public hearing. And what that means is that we just have a formal public hearing under the regulations of the state of Washington. We would invite the public to come. They never have. We've really tried to. 1 year we went all out. We had website banners and Facebook posts and all that stuff, and the public has just not been interested. But we do have to formally have a public hearing before we make a final decision, whatever that decision was is. And at the end of all that, any member of the public within that 30-day period could take your decision and decide to basically do a referendum of the voters. So what you decide here can be put to a public vote. It's never happened. I've never seen it happen in any city, even though that's the law all over Washington state. But it can happen if a member of the public were to not like the decision, or just simply feel like that it should be something that's voted on by the public.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So does that mean there's no like formal review of the like finance department?
Nope.
So like if we were to say, we think public, city council all should earn $1 million.
They earn $1 million.
Okay. But then the city has to pay for it. So how are you going to do that?
Correct.
Right. So, yeah. Okay.
And
I mean, I'm being exaggerating for a reason, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say a couple of things about that. Number one, we've had past commissions that have been very budget oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, the city council compensation is not affect the budget. I mean,
Significantly, yeah.
you could,
Yeah.
I mean, the decision could, you could make that decision,
Yeah.
but it's not something the finance director is sitting around worrying about a lot. But if there were decisions to change things, for instance, the city of Kirkland just changed their city council salaries. What I would say it was actually a budget consideration.
Yeah.
And other salary commissions have actually brought the finance department in and asked them to give them, like, what is the state of the budget? Because they wanted to be cognizant of the fact that how salaries are impacted by the economic status of the city, and they wanted to be aware of that situation.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
helpful. A little
Um,
scary and helpful.
That was a big topic of discussion during the last salary commission because we were so close to a decision of the city of Redmond. The city of Redmond had a salary commission that basically decided that their city council should be paid in accordance with full-time executives of the city. And the city council essentially disbanded the salary commission before that decision could be
It
made.
wasn't a pretty experience.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a really ugly.
That is the only time I've seen that. We're in a different phase of this. I would say it's over the years, the salary commissions met maybe 1 to 3 times. Some years they decide not to do anything. Other years they look at other cities. They see what other city council members make. They decide what the salary is. In 3 meetings, they're done. I would say the thing that has changed that and has made this discussion more maybe broader and maybe a little more politically controversial, although not really lawful, is this idea of making public office more accessible to the community, to all members of the community. And so that discussion has added some interesting factors that, especially the last go around, the salary commission really impacted. And to get into that a little more, you can also see the decisions that they decided to make last year. They made 3 decisions in regards to compensation. They increased the mayor's salary from $1,525 a month to $2,030 per month. They increased the deputy mayor from $1,425 to $1,900 a month. And they increased council members, so the 5 other council members, from $1,300 to $1,730 a month. That was a 33% increase. I will not say I've seen a 33% increase of any city position in my entire career. I shouldn't say that because I'm sure there's been 1 or 2, but not very, very, very rare. The commission considered feedback that was provided, data that was provided by Cabot Down Associates on comparable cities. I'm actually very glad they're here. We actually decided to have a third party come in and provide us data. We thought it added weight to the process and to have different information than maybe we had provided in the past. They also, something that I did not expect is they took a look at the Office of Equity's Community Service Guidelines, which is basically a guide that talks about community service of the state of Washington. And they used that document more. I wasn't sure how we would utilize that, but they actually used it in a number of ways. And the other thing that changed is the 33% increase actually made all of our council members for the first time eligible to be able to participate in the public employment retirement system. In the past, I believe the mayor and deputy mayor were allowed to do that, but other council members did not meet that threshold. And so now everybody meets that threshold. The second decision that the salary commission made a year ago was they added a low-income stipend of $400 per month for individuals from households below 80% of the median income in King and Snohomish counties. This really spoke to that issue of making public office more accessible to a more diverse range of the community. I would say that although they're not comparable organizations, they relied a lot on salary commission decisions made at the city of Edmonds and the city of Kirkland, specifically the city of Kirkland. That we talked about the city of Kirkland a lot last year in the salary commission decision. And you can, in the packet that Ann sent you, you can see salary commission decisions from other cities, including Woodinville, Edmonds, Kirkland, and others that are not necessarily in the data that was provided by Alex. And basically, they spent a lot of time and use the Office of Equity Community Service guidelines to sort of decide how we would make a determination if somebody was low income or not. And we determined to use tax filings. I have no idea how that process went because nobody's taken us up on it. In other words, we haven't even talked about this since the Salary Commission a year ago, because nobody's asked us to be considered for the low income stipend.
Does that end up being public information?
If somebody requests it, yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that, yeah, we'll get into public information, city council salaries here in a little bit. But then the third decision they made, which is a decision that's always been made in every salary commission I've ever been at, is that they allow city council members to participate in the city's 457 deferred compensation program. For those of you that work in the private sector, 457 is basically a 401k, just for public sector. And there's no cost to the cities to do this, and it's just another avenue of allowing council members to save for retirement if they so choose to do so. So that's basically the items that I wanted to go through with you. If you have any questions, let me know. You can read the ordinance that was passed by the Salary Commission a year ago. It's in your packet, as well as all of this other information. And you can go on the website and see that as well. And then you can see the YouTube videos from a year ago too. And with that, I'll come back a little later and I'm going to talk to you more about council interaction, because it's been an issue in every salary commission that I've participated in.
Okay.
Any questions? Oh, Lauren, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had one before we move on. The desire to raise the salaries to make public office more inclusive. Did the previous commission look at any like data that showed that when organizations do this, or different bodies do this, and what happens? Or is that, I'm just curious if that's somewhere that we could look at too.
I would say that was discussed. This idea of using the salary commission to make public office more accessible is new, and it's kind of like buying a different product to roof your house. There's lots of interesting ideas out there, but none of them are really tested yet.
Sure.
So the one that is, I think, the most, well, other than the city of Redmond, which never went through because they basically disbanded their salary commission. The city of Kirkland's is the most expansive as far as public sector benefits. As far as providing benefits to the city council, things like childcare, Orca passes, a low income stipend, and then their salary is I would say one of the highest in the regions for part-time city council members. I mean, there are like the city of Seattle and the King County Council where they're full-time sort of public elected officials that make more money. But we did try to contact the city of Kirkland. Their city attorney's office runs their salary commission, and we never got a call back. I will tell you though, Darcy Eilers is their new city attorney, and she's our former deputy city attorney. So I'm pretty sure if I called this time, we might get some input and feedback on that. But again, Kirkland that was only a couple years ago, so I don't know what kind of information they have. Their procedures, by the way, how we're operating, we're like with a full review 1 year and a sort of adjustment review the next year. That was pretty much copied from the city of Kirkland. Our process now is very similar to theirs.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
And I have a question as well. For like the low income stipend.
Yeah.
I don't know if this would be like responsibility of the commission, but like how is that kind of like advertised to like potential candidates for council? I know it's like new, so maybe that hasn't like I guess there's one like, was there for the previous commission, was there any kind of like thoughts on like how would like lower income candidates like know that this exists? I guess.
That's an interesting point. I don't remember that being discussed, and we've done zero advertising.
Okay.
So if they Googled salary compensation for city council members in Bothell, I'm sure our salary commission website would come up and that's on there. But outside of that, I don't know that we've done much. Well, I do know we've not done anything. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, yeah. Okay, thanks.
It's hard because it's like people aren't coming to the office because they're like, I can make a living wage, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are first starting out as electeds are usually going through like these mentorship kind of programs like Fuse Washington or
Yeah.
you know, they're kind of like cultivating them, right? So it's not like I don't think that they're maybe even knowledgeable about this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I don't know really a pathway to share that really.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this a little bit later with council interaction. It's always been, I don't know, I don't want to speak for the city council. This idea of public compensation has always been a touchy subject for obvious reasons. Like nobody wants to be seen publicly advocating for their, especially if they're elected official. But we'll talk about that a little later because I do think this council would be more forthcoming with wanting to talk to you. Maybe. At least they said they were, but you know.
Okay, all right, next item on the agenda is our consultants.
Great. Well, thank you. So just a little bit of background. I'm with Cabot Dow Associates, and our realm is doing compensation study work for cities and counties, primarily in Washington. We're usually working on employee salaries, collective bargaining agreements, things like that. But based on that work, we've drawn on that to assist the city of Bothell with the salary commission data. And so we started from the perspective of how we usually run our compensation studies is we look first to similar organizations. And what we did here is, and this you'll see here is, we looked at cities that are similar to Bothell in terms of population and budget. So we're not necessarily looking to our neighbors like Kirkland. We're not looking to Seattle. We're not looking to Bellevue. They're just so much bigger than Bothell. We're also looking for cities that have a similar governance structure, which is really important for this. City of Redmond is a strong mayor city, and so they have a full-time mayor that runs the city. They have, more full-time council members, and so we were not looking at those cities that have that type of structure. We're looking for council manager cities here. So we selected these 10 cities as comparable. Several of them are within the King County area. Several of them are not. And so you will see, for example, the cities of Longview, Moses Lake, Olympia, and Richland. And we've made some adjustments into their data to account for the fact that there are different costs of living in those areas. We obviously live in a very expensive area, and so salaries match that. So we made some adjustments to some of the data in these other areas to reflect that. So that's what you'll see here. And so what we did first is we selected cities within a population size of Bothell, so as low as 50% below to 100% above, and then selected these cities that met also the same criteria for their total budgets. So another measure of size and resources and things like that the cities have. We made sure they were council manager positions. And then just going down this chart, we noted where the cities that had been chosen as previous comparables in previous salary commission meetings were used. So previously the cities of Mercer Island, Puyallup, and Shoreline had been used. So those fit those criteria. So we included them again on this particular analysis. So we included the different salary amounts for the annual mayor. Usually in these cities, the mayor is, a figurehead and is usually paid a little more for playing that role on the council. We looked at deputy mayors. Not all councils distinguish between the deputy mayor and the council members, but some do. And then also the annual council amounts as well. And then just to provide a little bit of perspective, we looked at the annual salaries by total population. Just as kind of an interesting measure, this is a lot of times what we do with our employee salary computation studies, so we decided to do that here as well. And then we looked at the average of where these kind of, dollars per population fell. And so at the bottom there, you can see how that kind of shakes out. So the average is 46 cents per population for the mayor, 41 cents per population for deputy mayor, and then 35 cents per population for council members. And you can see at the top where Bothell lines up with that. With the changes that were made last year, those definitely line up more with the averages currently. So we're looking at 48 cents per population currently, and then 45 cents for mayor, 45 cents for deputy mayor per population, and then 41 cents per population for council member. So that's looking at 2024 data. So it's not taking account any population changes or any other commission changes that have been made since then. But that was just our data points for that. So that was our main role really in this particular study. We looked at if other council members in other cities were eligible for other benefits, how often they met, and just kind of different data points with the goal of providing a platform for the commission to make decisions. And as Matt mentioned, I think they really took a combination of looking at that, looking at other model salary ordinances out there, looking at data in other kind of community-based organizations, and kind of really pulling that together.
One of the questions that Alex and I met, so we did not expect to come back in a year to do another salary commission. But for reasons I'll get to a little bit later, the council decided to change the process and have a full review again this year. Salary commissions by and large do not meet annually. Some of them meet every 2 years. Most of them are more like 4 to 6 years. And so one of the questions that we have is, it's entirely up to you. And we'll do, and Cabot and Dow will do what the commission prefers, is if we were to go out and look at these numbers again, would they be that different 1 year later? We don't even know.
Yeah.
We don't, well, maybe we do, but like, which of these cities have met within the past 12 months and if they've actually changed anything? My suspicion is that this would look the same, but if you have questions about how we did it or why we did it, and there's changes you'd like to make or the thoughts you have about this, we have Alex to, I'm sure they'll do within reason, whatever it is the commission feels like, data you need in order to help you make a decision.
Question, and I looked at some of, but not all, so there may be there. Did any of your research actually get information on expected time investment of the mayor versus the deputy mayor versus council members? Because I know different cities have different expectations. Is there any of that factored in?
I believe your staff did pull that information, and we
The packet.
it's not in the packet, but I think that was
Yeah,
So for
Yeah.
Bothell, but not necessarily for other cities.
correct. We did
Okay.
interview city council members and I think we determined that they work somewhere on the average of 20 hours, 50 to 20 hours a week, depending on what council member you talk to. But we did not look at other cities.
And does that hold true all the way through the mayor? Is mayor, deputy mayor expected to do more?
I would say that the mayor is more like 30 hours a week
Okay,
and the deputy mayor is closer to an average council member.
okay,
Depends on the deputy mayor and the mayor.
of course.
Some mayors are very involved and they go to everything.
Yep.
Some mayors get new jobs like this one and the time goes back and so the deputy mayor has to fill in more. It just depends on who's in that role.
Sure.
But this mayor definitely does more. And I would say it's closer to 30 hours a week.
Okay.
According to him. I don't have to keep track of that. But I'm sure that's right. based on what I know.
And the hours are tracked by them? Or is it?
No,
It's
They don't-
estimated.
they don't track. I mean, actually, I don't know. I mean, maybe they do track them, but I believe what they provided to us was an estimate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the per population number. I'm interested in kind of like getting into that a little bit more later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, I mean, we're not talking about, I mean, we're not talking about the other cities nearby, even though we do have, I mean, the cost of living is more expensive, the houses are more expensive. Why aren't we talking about our neighbors?
Well, and the pull is gonna be, you're not pulling from other cities, but the relationship of, you have Kirkland elected officials are going to influence often who's an elected official in Bothell, or, I mean, because that's, who do you know happens a lot. So that's, I don't know how we pull that in with data, but it's just something at least to be aware of.
Yeah, I was just more thinking like, the houses in this area are, I mean, and the houses in maybe Kirkland and Bothell maybe aren't that different. So I'm thinking of that as well.
Quick thought. As I said, this data might not look a lot different. You could look, there's nothing stopping you from looking at different data sets. This issue of form of government came up last time, and the commission last time, kind of agreed with Alex's recommendation that form of government did sort of impact how specifically the mayor forms, and in a strong mayor form of government, the mayor is the CEO.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's right.
But council's probably pretty similar.
And I don't know that for sure. I've only worked for one other city, but yeah, whether or not that affects the council member position, I think it depends. Alex has worked in other cities.
It's a good thing.
I don't think Ann has, but I will say that this is the one time we have considered form of government and looking at comparable organizations and other city positions. We don't do that because a maintenance worker is a maintenance worker, a firefighter is a firefighter.
Right.
The one other position where it has been discussed is the actual city manager. And to look at the city manager's salary, we look at both form of governments, and we look at city administrators and city managers, even though those are really two different things. City administrator is more of a chief administrative officer. City manager is more of a CEO, and we can get into the differences of what that is if you wanted to, but
But
I
do you
don't.
compare city manager with strong mayor?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
they're like responsibilities are similar, and yet there's.
And why we don't, I don't know. I don't know this
Yeah.
conversation, but yeah. So yeah, we could look at anything you wanted to look at to help you make a decision. Yes.
Okay, let's move on to, I guess, the next agenda item, which is council interaction.
Yeah, I just wanted to introduce this topic. It has been a conversation. Salary commissions have historically always wanted a lot of input from city council, and city council has always not been very excited about that. I would say though, generally when they've emailed in questions, they've generally gotten responses, but it's mostly been things like, how many hours do you work? What do you do with those hours? Things of that nature. There is a YouTube video that I will actually send you of the city council meeting where we took this topic to them. They asked us to come back in order to change these procedures and to sort of do this new way of doing things. We had a study session, and I will send you the link to that study session. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not. I think it would be good for you to see it and sort of see the city council's reaction to this process. The thing that came up was, you've always asked us to participate. You ask us to come to a public hearing and give feedback, and we never do it. And one council member said, we actually probably should. And now whether they will or not, I don't know. But they even entertained the idea of would a salary commission be interested in interviewing us? I'm not telling you to do any of that. It's entirely up to you. But I did just want to raise the issue and let you know, we'll send you the YouTube video. It's an interesting discussion. They're very open about the impact of serving on city council in their lives. And that's not really a data thing. It's sort of like the reality of how they feel public service impacts them and their families, and just introduce this topic. And if you want to look at the YouTube video and the study session that occurred, do that and bring back questions or conversations about that, and have a conversation about how you want to interact with city council members. I think what I'm telling you is, I think this group they're very interested in this idea of making public office more accessible. And they may be more willing to participate than previous city councils have been willing to
Is
do
there a
that.
sense of what the reticence was? I mean, are they just really busy, or they feel bad about talking about their, I mean, what's stopping the conversations?
You know, in every city, if you read the various ordinances that set up salary commissions, it's very clear that city councils want this process. It's an independent process.
Mhm.
You are your own body. You make, like I said, if you said $1 million, if they didn't disband you, then they'd make $1 million. And so even when you look at city ordinance, they refer to their salary commission as independent salary commission. So I think there's that aspect of it. City council members don't want to see as influencing or impacting this process in a way that's unfair. I think the second thing is they're elected officials and they run for office, and
Yeah.
you know, that there's a political reality of advocating for your salary increase in public. Probably.
All right.
I'm not an elected official. I really don't know, nor do I ever want to be one. That's my sense. They're not really having, other than this one study session, they haven't been really willing to share why. They just don't come. I ask and they don't show up. And we do ask 2 or 3 times, you know, hey, if you're ever interested in providing input, this is when the salary commission's meeting. If there's a public hearing on this date, this is the decision they're considering. Would you like to provide input? And it's never happened. But they were in this study session very open to the idea of, they recognized that and said, you know, maybe we should have conversations about this, because I think what salary commissions have wanted to understand more in the past is, what's it like? Like, what is it like to be a city? Like, what is the impact?
Mhm.
And we get the data, like, it's about 15 to 20 hours a week. But I don't know if salary commissions have felt that really tells you, like, what's the impact? Like, what is the economic burden of taking on these roles? And so I just wanted to introduce that topic and tell you we would be sending the YouTube link, and how you want to discuss that in the future is entirely up to you.
So this kind of qualitative data that we'd be dreaming
Yeah.
from our council members, would
Yes.
this be in this kind of session, or would it be like we're just going out and asking
Yeah.
them on our own time to make our own personal opinions? Or can we do it?
I'm going to research that and get back to you.
Okay.
My gut is, so theoretically, if you have a quorum, it has to be a public meeting. So if there's 3 of you, it has to be an open public meeting.
And that's with us as well as the council, yes?
I'd want to talk to people that are wiser about this, about, well, could they individually go do research and report back? I don't know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm thinking that's probably okay, but I want
yeah. And then there's also like, they're in a room and we're asking questions like, well, would you run again if you couldn't really afford to? Like, that's a hard question to ask in a setting like this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, it's then how do you get honest answers if everything's public?
Right.
You know, and so if everything has to be, put on YouTube, I can see how any council member, even if it's one council member and all of us, that could be problematic. And also, if we email them, it's the same, it's public document.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I I do wonder if the idea of doing it as an interview format where we prepare a discussion guide, they have time to absorb the the questions, and it's not a sort of off the cuff. Everything is expected. I wonder if that would help make everybody more comfortable, and it also provides some structure, right? Everybody knows what to expect from everybody else, so that makes sense to me as a thing that we might want to do once we know like what questions we want to answer through these interactions. It sounds like that's kind of the big thing that isn't really established based on past salary commissions. Like we don't have that body of research to say in the past they've asked these questions. This would be us kind of starting fresh, but
I
it
could
would be
also
interesting to explore.
So they're about kind of high level thinking about with your experience on council, knowing other people who are on council. So some questions that aren't like, what do you think, as much as what have you seen? What have you heard? You know, that could also open a conversation up that could be more public and feel less personal.
Yeah.
So
I like the discussion guide too. Like something I've been kind of wondering about is like outside of like city council meetings was like the day-to-day city council like work expectations, like where I know they're on like other county and state commissions and stuff. So it's like, what does that actually look like? What do those like 15 to 20 hours? Like, what are you like? Not rigorous, but like what actually is like the workload within that time frame. So I'd be very curious to see kind of like a narrative of like this is what I do kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think in the like, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. No, I mean, I think that's the benefit I see of a discussion guide, right? We can help keep us honest that we're asking the same questions to everybody and in the same way, hopefully, regardless of who's conducting the interview. And then even though it's, qualitative data for sure, it gives us something a little bit more solid to make decisions based on than kind of less formal interactions. So that would make sense. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna just talk about like, how it impacts their lives. And I mean, how they're balancing the work, life, home, council. Like that seems really hard to me. Like, are you asking for some leeway from your employers? Are you a part-time employee? Would you make more money if you weren't on council? Like, I think I would like to know that information.
Yeah, for sure.
So we can just move into, unless you have more input on. Okay. So the next one is just our mission discussion. Let's just open. Okay, we can just continue with that. I'm kind of curious about the meetings, like, are the agendas, is the agenda already like set for our next meeting, or should we?
No, there's no set agenda. Basically what we're looking for with items 7 and 8 is what do you want to do and what do you need from us in order to do it?
Okay.
And then based upon that, Ann or I probably would contact you and say, based on the discussion, this is what we recommend as an agenda. And you can say, actually, no, we should do this or that or whatever. And yeah.
I mean, we can kind of reverse engineer our timeline a little bit. Like now we have like October 31st. We have what, 5 more meetings? We have 6 meetings total. Is that right?
3 in October, 2 in September, 2 out of August. And 5 a year.
Is that not including?
5 plus 2. 7 total. This one was 7 now. If we meet every time.
Sure.
Okay, so we could maybe think about how we wanted to divvy up our time. Any ideas?
I think it'd be helpful if maybe like next meeting we use that to like develop like that, like the question guide and the interview stuff. So that way we kind of have that ready to go, because I know we're kind of like in election season. So we want to make sure that that's good. We send that to the council members so they've got actual time to like look those over and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay.
maybe make a list of like what information we want from all different things.
Yeah.
What kind of information do we want from council? What kind of information do we want from cabinet? What information do we want from staff or other? And then what are the unknown, you know, like, what do we
Yeah.
want to think about and learn more about, whether it's equity or other things.
Okay, so we'll look at the qualitative questions. And then what about the quantitative data? Like, what are some things we want to know more of? I mean,
Oh,
So you can get in.
sorry.
And I'm interested in, this is a year old, so I don't anticipate that we're gonna see a huge change. So I don't think it makes sense to like charge the city of Bothell to have you start over again, you know, that doesn't seem, but maybe like, is there a way to find out like overall things have shifted by X% because cost of living has gone up, or, you know, how can we get some updated information without saying, yes, start all over? Or maybe it's just certain areas. Maybe we say, you know, we do want some information on City of Kirkland because they were clearly an important resource for the last group. It may not come in exactly this, but at least we're looking at it. They clearly did, I'm kind of interested, they clearly made a significant change.
Mhm.
So I'd love to hear why and what it is about those conversations, because they could also be leading edge.
Yeah.
And then they are in some ways, in some of the ways that they do things, not necessarily in everything.
so, and then cost of living, like, cost of living data, I'm trying to think of what else
Yeah.
we should look at. Any thoughts?
I would be interested if we can find, and I know it may be difficult to find at the city council level, but if there's other comparable bodies who have taken maybe further in the past, even by a couple of years, the actions to make it more accessible, like if there are results, great, but even just like, are we in line? Like, is the stipend, is that, you know, like, I think it was mentioned that there might be other like sort of compensation things that have been tried. I'd just be curious to get more data on that, to pull into everything.
It might be interesting
Yeah,
in look non-city, like what are other
Yeah,
organizations that hire nonprofit? I mean, this is such a unique role because you have specific city council meetings, but outside of that, you have umpteen middle of the week events, plus many weekend events. And just there's this vague also belief that, look, I'm an elected official. I can't go to the grocery store in sweats because someone's going to ask me about, you know, whatever. So there's something about that also puts a weight on responsibility that you're kind of always working if you're in your city.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how to, I mean, there's no direct way of compensating for that, but it's something that we should kind of be aware of as we're thinking through what are all the different things that we're looking at that impacts somebody in this role.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else what other industries might have a similar kind of way of looking at that, but it would just be interesting to see who else is doing creative.
Yeah.
Like civil service.
Civil service, or are there other roles that aren't civil service that have a similar kind of situation?
Yeah, even like outside the state potentially, because there might be, other places doing interesting stuff.
I'm also kind of interested in like, okay, if I'm a council member and this is like my first step, like promotion is often like you're going to the state, right? You're becoming a rep.
Yeah.
And what is that jump? Like, how do you become like a part-time council person? And then you're like, I'm taking the next step, taking the next leap. I want to be full-time. I want to serve. Now, even the reps are not full-time, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they also have day jobs. So it's like, okay, it's a bigger.
Yeah, I think
That's a good
adding
question.
Yeah, Kelly, I got that too. It's not just like involved of like other cities too. There are council members who are on the council, but also on the state legislature. So again, that dual like part-time income. So it's like, would
Are
we?
there people that are both?
Mhm.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
even know you could do both.
Yeah.
Good to
or-
know.
So it's like, would that factor into any like discussions that we have? So it's like if you're taking both, or if you're doing both, you only get one, or yeah, I don't know.
If
That
you're
would be a
an
little
attorney,
much.
but also do this, do you get to have both
Right.
salaries? You know,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely more concerned about the unseen impacts of I'm really concerned. A $400 stipend is great, except for the minute you have to say, once I ask for the stipend, then everyone knows I'm low income, and that affects my ability to be effective at council.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not, but how is that? I think the intention is correct, but I'm concerned about what the impact is of actually asking for that funding.
Mhm.
Because it's just one more reason to have to ask for help.
Mhm.
That's a problem when you're an elected official trying to make change, and people aren't gonna like you if you're making change, and so you're there's just, you're a target, and I want to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so we definitely want to work through some of those questions
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
Mhm.
And do we want to look at any more like spatially, like nearby? Do we want to look at data, like COLA data in our area, or?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Because I know there's the RPP adjustment. So tell us, can you tell us a little bit more about how that is figured?
So how that works is that we take data from the Federal Bureau of Economic Analysis, and they come out with every year a new regional price parity. That's what the RPP stands for.
I hate to ask you this, but do we trust the data that's coming out this year?
Yeah.
I think but say go.
So yeah, it's comparison data.
Okay.
So they take costs of, it's like from the CPI, basically. It's
Okay.
cost of fuel, food, housing, all of that. And then they base that comparatively. So it's not necessarily like
It's
this.
really often be obvious.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, exactly. So it's a comparative measure. And again, it's just to kind of factor in that, if salary in, Mississippi is $50,000, that's going to mean a lot. It's going to go farther there than it will here. So it's adjusting that.
Yeah.
Just an example.
Just to be clear, I don't have any question about federal workers. I think they're awesome. I just want to be clear. Not bashing federal workers.
So, anyway, so that's why we use that for those particular cities. So Longview, Moses Lake, Lafayette, Richland, because it's, housing is cheaper in those areas. And that's really what it comes down to. So, and then, I think the key reason for not, and I mentioned this before, but the key reason for not using cities like Kirkland, Bellevue, mostly Kirkland, Bellevue, because Redmond's a strong mayor city, so we don't use them.
Mhm.
But it's because they're so much larger. The economics of their city budgets are so different than someone's city in Bonneville. So that's not to say is we don't look at them to see what's going on there, but
I would love to have that data for Redmond, Kirkland, and Bellevue, knowing that they're different, knowing that it's strong mayor, but also the city councils are all connecting and working with each other. And so understanding how close or far apart they are would be interesting to know.
So you said Redmond, Kirkland, Bellevue. Are you interested in Kenmore, Woodinville?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be cool.
I'm actually less interested in Bellevue, but I am just kind of curious.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
Kenmore.
Can you
I
tell
mean,
us about?
It
Go
seems
ahead.
worth having just to be able to speak to, we looked at it and this is why we did or didn't make a decision based on, I think not having it in this list, it just feels a little incomplete. right? Like we all just intuitively know those cities are close by, and it's a bit, I understand and I appreciate having things brought in from other parts of the state, but I think it's fair to have like geographic comps as well, even if we know we have to look at them differently than more comparable cities. So yeah, I agree. Woodinville and Kenmore for sure, because they're so close by.
What is the deal with Mercer Island there on that? Like, they don't have any. There's no. I don't know.
That's right. Island.
I think they did not respond to our request, or they didn't have information. And they didn't have relevant information at the time.
That's really disappointing. Mercer Island is a very comparable organization to us. We use them in almost all of our salary studies.
Oh, okay. So maybe going back to them would be worth trying to get that information.
Yeah, and I actually have data, and this may have been an older as we were going through the process, but I think they have a very low, I think they only had 4,800 per year for
Yeah.
Mercer Island and 2,400 annually for Crystal. That's the last data that I have, so we can definitely go and look back at that and see if that's been changed or get a better answer from them.
Yeah, I mean, besides Mercer Island, if I had to buy a house in any of those places, I mean, I think, you know, they're gonna be a lot cheaper, significantly cheaper.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about it like that, you know. Everything's so expensive here. You can't buy a ranch drive-in burger for less than $12 or whatever it is. It's really expensive to live here. So yeah, I want to think about that too.
Can I recap a little bit, just so what I've heard so far is we're not necessarily interested in seeing this data again because we don't expect that it will change a lot, but we are, for just the sake of understanding and knowing, interested in looking at some of our more neighbors. And I created a list here, Redmond, Kirkland, Bellevue less so, but still would like to see it. Kenmore, Woodinville. I also added Mill Creek because they're technically a neighbor.
Yeah.
And then Mercer Island because we couldn't get the data the last time. I also heard understanding CPI in this area, cost of living adjustment. I actually know what it is for the city. I know it, but I don't know it now. Like we have that number, but I don't have it in my head. It's
This
3.6.
past Julie's?
Yeah, I think it's 3.6.
3.6.
Yeah, 3.6%. And that depends on what you look at. There's a consumer price index, urban workers and consumer price index, wage earners, and they're usually fairly close, but we're U and we used to be W. So that depends, that affects, but we can bring you those numbers. I also heard you're interested in having a discussion about what the conversation with council members might be like, and maybe even creating a discussion guide and brainstorming about that.
Yeah, like if you can come back to us after consulting with your colleagues about best practices around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you bring that back to us, then we can look together questions. Yeah. And maybe like we can all have that as homework, like.
Because I think it'll change depending on how, like,
Right.
if it's okay for like only two of us to go out and interview council members individually, that would be a different conversation than if we have a group
Yeah.
and ask people to show up or, you know, something. I think the conversation might look different.
Yeah.
I really like the idea, you guys.
Also, I'm assuming we don't know, but if we were to, I think the one piece that would be interesting is if any of the cities on these lists did have a significant change based on their salary commissions. So it's like, yeah, Des Moines decided to increase their mayor and council salaries by a certain amount. That would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because that would be the one place where it's might change. I don't think, you know, the cost of living and the overall budget is going to be probably insignificant changes, but that might be one thing that could be different.
Yeah, the cities that come to mind from last time are, I think Woodinville had a discussion, Redmond definitely had a discussion, Kirkland had a discussion, and Edmonds had a discussion, and I don't remember specific others, but I'm not even sure exactly how we'll get into that, but we'll figure that out. and
Okay.
Back to you with something.
Yeah, and like I'm thinking about this novel data point is that we are straddling two counties. So
Yeah.
our council members have to have built and developed different kinds of relationships with different people. And that is like an added part of the job, right? It's like they're networking with both people on both sides of the county, right?
Yeah.
So it's different than our neighbors. So we're gonna have to look at lots of different
Yeah.
intersections.
That's another good point. Are there other comparable cities that straddle multiple counties? Four of them? Okay.
There were four. I don't know which four.
Woodville's both King,
Woodville would be,
or not?
it's just,
Why
King
did they think they
County.
were?
Their addresses
Yeah,
go into Woodville.
oh, so unincorporated Woodville.
Unincorporated.
Yeah, right, but not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you know this, yeah.
Oh, and population increases. All those cities, I would like to know, like, I know Buffalo's growing really.
Oh, that's a good point. Population increase would make it.
So
Okay, so we have some data updated.
Yeah.
how has population increased in Mercer Island, Redmond, Kirkland, Bellevue, Kenmore, Woodville, and Mill Creek?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
And one other thing, I think, were we also gonna try and get more details from Kirkland? Like ask again about their process? Is that already on the list of things to go get?
Yeah, I will call their city attorney.
Yeah, that'd be great to know about.
If you
You know
can,
that there's,
let me know, because I can call a couple of the city council people and
Okay.
I'll just share what they can.
Okay.
Anything else on this agenda item? Discussion? Anything else we'll bring to the table next time?
A lot.
Yeah, I think it was a lot, yeah. I think it's good next step, right?
I have a quick question from last commission. Do we know how they got to the 400 number for the stipend proposal?
Yeah, they looked at Edmonds, Kirkland. There was one, I think they had one other city that had it, and they basically made a decision based upon that.
Okay,
I don't know if it was an average, but they kind of said, well, this is about in the middle.
gotcha.
Okay.
It's my recollection. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to staff consultation direction. Consultant, sorry.
I think we have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Ann and I and Alex will find a time to meet. I do want to say, to actually go out and get data from other cities is a little more time consuming than this other stuff. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna commit Alex to absolutely having something in 2 weeks.
Oh,
But
And I'm not available to.
so Alex will not have stuff ready for us in 2 weeks. But we will definitely get started with some of these other areas, and then when we have data available, we'll get that to you.
I think it's perfectly reasonable for you to tell us what's reasonable. Not.
Yeah.
We'd like this tomorrow. Yeah. Because we really don't know your timeline or even the city's timeline. We're, everything's so new for us. So we want to be, at least I want to be respectful of how this works so everyone works well together rather than trying to put undue pressure on any one group.
Okay, I think that's it. What's procedure for adjournment?
You say that we are adjourned?
Okay, no vote.
Yeah, there's no requirement that we, the
No.
only thing that we have to vote on is the final decision. There's
Okay.
no Robert rules requirement. You can definitely choose to do that if you want, but
We're not.
Yep.
All in favor of not doing
Yeah.
So we're meeting next time in 2 weeks. Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
I think there was one date on there, right, that was like, this might not work for everybody. It was like around Labor Day.
I think so.
Yeah, it was like, so we might have to reschedule that.
I
one.
know I'm not available that day.
Yeah,
Fair.
I'm not, I'm out of town. I could be, but I'm out of town, so really communicating.
Let's make sure on the agenda to add an item about scheduling at the end, so we're
Oh, that's a
talking
good
about the
idea.
next date every time and
Mhm.
if it works or not, reschedule.
All right.
But Ann or I will be here for the next meeting. Give you a start on some of this research and we'll see Alex again in 4 weeks.
Cool. Thank you, Ann.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you all
you.
for putting this together for wonderful.
Yeah. Is that the week of the 4th that you were thinking? Well, we can figure it out next time.
Labor Day, yeah.
Labor Day.
Oh,
The week, it's the Thursday after Labor Day? Yeah, okay. That would be an easy one for me to miss for, so we can't do that. That's fine.
You good with me stopping recording?
yes.
Yes.